Hello everyone and welcome to my new predictions video. This one's double barreled and it's all about the first DLC or free LC in this case. Yep, we'll call it this case. And the Bretonians. CA or Sega, we don't know which one, like to offer a bonus to pre-orders which makes the first DLC free. And before people complain, these DLCs are not cut content. They're made on a separate budget which is set by Sega. So if you wanted that to be in the game without there being a DLC, the cost of the base game would have to be increased to cover it instead. But that is enough talk about DLC and whether it's good or bad, because that's not the point of this video, and I don't want this video to become about that. This FLC, I'm fairly certain, will be about the Bretonians. They are right there beside the Empire on the campaign map, which you should see in the background now, which is also their starting location. They are very similar to the Empire model wise, because they're both humans, so they should be able to use the same skeletons, which is another reason I think they will be the free LC, because it wouldn't be that hard for them to be implemented. So even if they're not this free LC which I'm talking about, they will be a DLC shortly after. So who are the Bretonians? The Bretonian Kingdom is the other human nation right next door to the Empire. When the Bretonians were released back in 3rd edition of Warhammer Fantasy, they were a medieval society based off England and France, where the nobility exploited everyone and lived in luxury without a care in the world. And they even used unnoble weapons such as black powder cannons, but this was changed when 4th edition Bretonians were brought out. The 4th edition Bretonians changed everything. There was a new king who had restored nobility to the land and made everywhere much fairer and nicer, and a sort of medieval high society going on. This is a land where the rich take care of the poor, and the noblemen are heroic figures who go on quests and protect the land. Bretonia is a kingdom ruled by a king, and normally the king's oldest son will take his place upon his death. The kingdom is then further separated into 14 dukedoms ruled over by a duke. Dukes rule over several marquises, who rule over several earls, and so on until you get right down to the peasants. Most of Bretonia is a lush countryside dotted with small castles and villages. Towns are a rare sight, which could be very interesting for the campaign map gameplay of this faction. So how will Bretonia play? Bretonia love their knights. In fact, sometimes their whole army is made up of nothing but knights. Knights, 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 knights. Bretonian knights are deadly on the charge, but they don't have much killing power after they've made that initial charge. They're also very heavily armoured, making them very hard to kill by traditional means. There are several types of knights in the Bretonian army, all the way from errants, which is the sons of noblemen who are trying to prove themselves and become full-fledged knights by winning honours on the battlefield, to paladins and high-ranking barons, and even the king himself. These knights are your bread and butter, your meat and your gravy, but your knights can have support. The knights are often backed up by peasants, man-at-arms, Though these men-at-arms are pretty weak, they are often used as a tar pit that will hold your rival in place, albeit for a short time, to give the knights time to get into place and maximise their charge in a flank or a rear. Part of the nobleman code in Bretonia is not to use ranged weapons, but this does not stop the peasantry. Bretonia get to take units of longbowmen to the field that are quite effective at softening your opponent for your main units, such as your knights, to deal with. Never forget the knights. Bretonia are all about the knights. The other thing longbowmen are effective at is screening this next unit, the trebuchet. The trebuchet is a very strong catapult that is great at dishing out a lot of pain, and in fact it's the only piece of siege equipment that the Bretonians get, so it will be one fielded quite a bit. When it comes to magic, the Bretonians are the opposite of their aggressive cavalry sort of style. They are actually quite defensive. Their mages are called prophetesses or damsels, and it's pretty easy for your opponent to stop your magic phase and to stop your prophetesses and damsels casting their spells. So when you do get your magic off, you need to make the most of it. But on the other hand, Bretonian mages are quite effective at stopping your opponent's magic phase as well, which is a rare sight for a not very magic army apart from dwarfs. And even when your opponent do manage to get their spells off, most of your units are pretty resistant to magic, so they should be able to weather the storm pretty well. So there we go, that's just a quick insight into the Bretonians, talking about why I think they will be the free LC that is to promote pre-orders, and why I think they will be in the game, if not at launch, shortly after, and then how I think they will play. Hope you have enjoyed this, and see you all for the next part. Bye bye.